Okay, welcome to the featured coach episode inside the online coaches, speakers, and entrepreneurs networking community. And for the people who inside this community, of course, you haven't seen this video before because there has not been these featured coaches yet. But I will be featuring some of the awesome coaches inside and authors and speakers inside this community who are doing a wonderful job in helping people. And I have selected these people who are getting featured on based of their authenticity and their willingness to share their message and the transformation I feel like they are able to contribute to the people they are helping. So if I find like you have a great message, you can get free visibility inside this community and my channels. So the first guest in this episode is Armin Oberlander from Germany. And he's coach and also author of the book From Frustration to Joyful Life. It's currently written in German, but he's also looking forward to translating it in English. And I won't tell more about his story because I will be asking him questions. He can share his story himself. Welcome to the featured coach episode, Armin Oberlander.
Yeah, to Ovo, thank you very much. And I'm very happy that I'm the first one. Wow, this is great.
Yes, you was the fastest to comment me. And also I know you before, and I know like also what you say in your speak, because there's a lot of people who speak things, but they are not that. But you say that if people feel your heart, they know you. And I really feel that. I know, and I feel your heart, that you really have a heart of service, which is something that I feel like in the long term is the most important thing in coaching business. Might not always be in the short term the most profitable thing, but in the long term, I think it creates the most impact and good and success in business. So I'm very happy to have you here as the first person in the in the featured coach. So okay, so go ahead and tell a little bit more about yourself. You can start from wherever you want to start telling about your story.
Yes, okay. Because my story is in the end my coaching. And so I tell all the things I learned in my life, and much of them is frustrating also, or sad or feeling small, and has to do with disabilities. So let's begin. In the age of 7, at my 7th birthday, the Americans go to the moon, and I was so fascinated, and I wanna become astronaut. But my parents say, no, you have glasses. This don't work. Okay, a little bit sad about this, but I do the things that the boys do in this time, climbing trees and play with other boys and doing some crazy things. And so this is a learning, I realized later, when you're in a sad period, in sadness, yeah, you're feeling small, doing things that makes you happy, that makes you smile. This was a big learning in this time.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. And then the years go by, I go to the secondary school, and I was not such engaged pupil there. I'm German, and German was my worst curse, really the worst. Later on, English, I like English because I heard English music, and now I can speak English with you. And then I learned a job, and then during the job learning, I make extra courses because I thought maybe you must do some little bit more, going the extra mile. It would be better to do more than usual. And so I go to school at Saturdays to get a higher certification. And later on, I do an extra course, full-time course for a year, because I had then the dream to become an engineer.
Yes.
Kent,
Yes.
yes. And this was rooted. I got such an assembly box for electronics, and there was built radios and built switches and light things and everything. And so fascinated. So I'm curious. I want to more and more knowing about this. And so this is my way into the job life. And there was a book, a very good book for explanation, and I will come back later to this book.
Yeah.
Right. But then in the age of 21, I lost my left eye because a sudden retina detachment. No doctor knows why. And this was a really frustrating time and feeling small and depressed and so on.
So how old was you then?
21.
21. Okay.
And
Yes.
this is really unusual. Maybe these things happens later in life to people. Yes,
Yeah.
I was 21. But
So
then I said,
you lost the eye. Yes. So
yeah, the left eye. And
Yeah.
now it's a glass eye.
Yeah.
And then I said, okay, I wanna know it. I wanna do it now than ever. Despite this, I want to study. I want to go ahead, and I go ahead because of the circumstances. This, when you have only one eye, it's you see, maybe you see more than 50%. So this is not so. It's not so that this big impact, but you don't have really a three-dimensional vision. You have so that the brain makes maybe 2.5 dimensional vision. Yes.
But there is an important lesson there. I believe, though, that like you mentioned, that this happened to you with nobody who is ever to happen. I've learned also that in life there are situations that can always either break or make us, and you chose that. Okay, this happened. I didn't want this to happen, but I will choose that it makes me instead of breaks me. So in that way, I feel like you're really an example of that nothing really needs to break you. And of course you feel down and depressed for a while, for sure anybody would be, but you didn't let it keep you down. So so that's a very good thing. So what would be your advice, Armin, for somebody who is facing a disability, losing their eye or losing their arm or whatever, they face this place where their life is not the same anymore and they feel like down and everything is falling apart. So what would be your advice to somebody who is going through something like that?
I would say there is one magic word is calling despite. Do it despite. Also, we have three words now.
Yes.
Do it despite ... what is happening.
Yeah.
This is it. Yeah.
Yes. Do it despite rather than quit because.
Yeah. And then comes the situation of somebody who has a similar situation. They have an eye issue, or maybe I met some good programmers, software developers sitting in a wheelchair, and they all say they're doing despite this. Maybe sitting in a wheelchair, maybe have an eye issue, or maybe blind persons do also good jobs.
Yeah, so that's also a very good thing that you raised that if I'm correct, when this happened to you, you saw other people who had some sort of disabilities, but they were able to build a successful career in the engineering despite that.
Yeah. And you must have the will to do it, not the passion to do it, and this must be a little bit more than the frustration.
Yeah. So what is it? What is it if it's not just frustration? Then what is it that drove you?
Yeah. It was to be this curiosity about the electronics in this time. There was no computers, and I want to become an engineer, no? Because this was for me the dream. And when maybe I have later on a family, I have then a better income as an engineer, and I have interesting job, and this was the passion that these things makes a passion to me. So the job itself, the knowing deeper about the electronics, because I'm so curious guy.
Yeah.
And then the salary is better than as a normal worker.
Yeah.
So for family.
Yes. So curiosity and also financial, but most of all financial in terms of supporting your family and things like this. Yeah. That's a very, very good, beautiful reasons to doing it. And actually, because we live in this time where we are actually right now in Zoom, and I'm using my iPhone as the webcam here, and we are connected all over the world now. So it's very difficult for us to think about the time when there was no computer technology, how it has developed from this ping pong game, when there was like these two things like tick, 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 and the ball in the middle when they play. It's kind of like a tennis kind of game. And now we are like playing games which are like photorealistic, and there is some wild things.
Yeah.
Like people say, like Elon Musk even like said, like it's just a matter of time when we are going to create games that you cannot even this you cannot even recognize the reality from the game, which seems quite wild.
And I have a little Nias. Yes, I had them as a child on my arms, and now she's 25, and she is studying game designing. She's designing games.
Great.
Yes.
That's wonderful. And so you was able to proceed in your career quite well in the engineering.
Yes.
So that's very good. And how did that make you feel?
Oh, very good. So I was then very satisfied in my job, because I have to do with brilliant people all over the world, and brilliant technology. Also, I was working with fiber optical devices for the providers and for the management systems of this. And I have often troubleshooting and have all of night jobs there. So I was on duty. And the best job I had is when I do teachings. Also I teach the engineers from the customers for our latest technology. And yes, this was a good job, because when you are teaching, the pupils will ask you, and so with these questions that they're asking you questions you never ask yourself, and so you have a big learning. Independent of what you are teaching. When you're standing in the front, you must answer the questions.
That's
and
very. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yes, and if you have no answer, you must answer somebody else, but it's okay. It's a great job to being a teacher. It's very interesting, because you have to do with humans and with machines.
Yeah, exactly. You get the both. And then it's actually also an interesting perspective, like you mentioned, that your pupils can actually teach you, because they're going to ask you not in a way that they know more than you, but they ask questions that you couldn't even ask yourself, which forces you to find more answers.
Yeah. And sometimes they know more than me, because it was very rapid to say that the boss said, okay, go to customer, teach them, and I have only maybe 2 weeks more knowledge than the customer. And sometimes I met customers that have really more knowledge than I. This can happen too.
What will you do in that situation when you actually discover, and they actually have more information than me?
Yeah, I congratulate them to this good wisdom, and say, okay, you know more than me in this topic. Thank you for your point.
Yeah.
So do it friendly, And
Yes.
so under engineers, such things is not a big deal. It's normal. There is so much things that it should know, and then you can do one thing you do, not, and this and that, and maybe when you in one certain point missing the information is okay.
Yeah, that's very good, and you honestly and openly admit it, and then it's okay, and everybody understands it.
Yeah,
that's a very good advice for everybody.
Yes.
Also.
Yeah.
So that's very good. And okay, so you was very happy with that, and then okay, what happened after it? You got a good career in the engineering, and what happened? How did things then proceed?
Yeah, as after my career, it ended because I cannot work on so much in this job because my eye is not so good. Imagine when you almost 40 years work with one eye on computers, then at one time you have the point that this doesn't go anymore. And so they made me a nice offer to leave. And there was my mother, because my father died in 2017, and then later I must care for my mother.
Yeah,
because she was very sick, because body and also mental, because father was dying before, and I cared for my mother. And during this time, I comes the impression to write my book. So how go I with all these things along my way? This was in this time when I do my mother, and then after she died, book was ready, and then Corona came, and then I tried to I tried to do online marketing. Still a little bit complicated for me. And okay, but I also was offline, speaking with people, also selling book, and so my I would say coaching. Also we have in Germany we say more Begleitung. This means companionship, no? And often people speak with me like with a friend and have some this issue and that issue, and they're pouring the heart out at me,
Yeah.
And yes, and so it came. And I was many years. I was in the customer support, and also there the customers come to me, and told me what they're doing. Oh, this is a technical thing, but in private also people come to me and they have very trust to me and tell me much things.
Yeah.
And man, it's important then you have a compassionate ear. You hear them, and to summarize and maybe some questions, and then the clearness came in the people itself. And if they want, then they can go ahead. And many people don't want to go ahead. They want only having a confirmation, and maybe to pour the soul out is enough. Okay, but others want to go ahead, but not so much people want to go ahead.
Yeah, but it's also good to know for people that it's very natural that many people don't want to proceed, and it's okay as long as like you always just serve them and help them. So in a way you can see that, hey, I did what I could. Maybe it would be good if they would get even more help from me, but maybe not today. Maybe they might come back tomorrow or a month or a year from now, or maybe not. But I think it's very healthy to just think in that way, that I did my best to help and serve the people. So I think that's where it all starts. And I think you are a very easy to approach person, and you can sense the authenticity in you and your heart to serve and help people, which is actually like, it's much more rare than these hyper marketing skills that many people have, which is like I mentioned. I feel like if you have these hyper marketing skills, you might get results faster, but I don't believe it's as sustainable, at least, or authentic as with you cannot never replace a heart. You can always learn new skills, but you can never replace a heart, which I can definitely feel from you and the way you do things.
Exactly.
Yeah. And tell us a little bit about your book, because the name is From Frustration to Joyful Life. So maybe in short, can you tell us a little bit about the point of frustration? So when was it, and what was it like for you, if you want to share us?
This ice issue, what I said, and I forget one thing to tell, because we have a brother who is really disabled and he cannot speak, and so this was also very, very frustrated, especially from our parents, no? And they did their best, so this was really hard for them, and because he does a smooth thing like a spastical, and he's sometimes loud and cannot really speak. And what the thing is, he lives in a caretaker's house, and I visit him. But when he is sad, also his gestic and mimic, you see, is sad or is happy. But when he is sad, you cannot speak to him. What you need, no? This is really frustrating.
Yeah.
This is much frustrating, and so I have the other things like job loss. I have divorces. One divorce. Only a single divorce. And yes, and such things. And I was this time as a caretaker. I see also so many suffer, and I was on my side when my father is dying. But I found a way to the happiness. That is, so like I mentioned before, if you're in a sad situation where you cannot help, you must do good for yourself. No? You do things that you like, maybe hear music and going to a massage and doing sports, whatever is good for you and for your body, for your soul, and for your brain. So when you life situations, like my brother, there is no thing to escape. He is like he is, or with my eye, it is like it is. When people are dying, maybe you will see this one day. You cannot change it, and then you must care for yourself. This is the way to the happiness. When you do the best that you do all that you can. But take care of yourself. This is very, very important.
Yeah, that's a very good advice. I think you have probably heard this one too, when they say that when you go to airplane and they give these instructions, if something happens and they get the oxygen mask, put it on yourself first before trying to help anybody. Because if you don't have oxygen, how are you going to help anybody? And
exactly.
And when you want to be like giving, because most people want to give other people joy and help them, especially like coaches and people like entrepreneurs, and then many mechanical engineers, of course, they're looking for a fulfilled life, but it's also good to know that you can't give what you don't have. So if you got a heart of service, let's say that the same applies in everything. If you got a heart of service, but you have got no money, and there is a homeless person who doesn't have food to eat, but you don't have any money to give them, how are you going to give it to them? But the same applies to that joyfulness, like you mentioned, that you need to take care of yourself first to be able to give it to someone else. Yes, I like that. So your advice would be to start that when life starts happening and bad things happen, like somebody close to you even dies, or something bad happens, you're a caregiver and something happens to you, disability, all these things keep happening. First step would be to just allow yourself to be good to yourself and take care of yourself.
Yes, of course, yeah. But that's I want to point out another thing of happiness.
Yes.
And so in my career and as I work as an engineer, and we engineers are working usually very good together on it. They say, "Oh, finger pointing does not help." And I think if you in a bigger project when you make many peoples, you must have this mindset that fine finger pointing not help, that the community is so important, that you really work good together. So we work together with different departments in the company, with the software development, with other special groups. We work together with the customers, and we work together maybe with third parties. And maybe when you have a big company later on, maybe a marketing company or something. So I always said the people I work with as a human who has to do his job, and we together do a great job together. Yes. Independent where the people live, in which country, in which company, we all have humans who are working on the same project.
Yes, yes. So even though if we are from different places and different cultures and different beliefs, when working together is much better. Yeah. How many countries have you been working with in other nations?
I was in Luxembourg, I was in the Netherlands, I was in Ireland, and in Romania, personally, not remote. And the strangest country I ever was, this was very interesting. I was in the Iran.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
But this is the people I met so nice people there, you do not believe it. So,
yeah.
And I have a year before this business trip came, we have a delegation from Iran here in Germany. And then one colleague said at the end of the project, said to me, "See you in Iran." And I said, And so it comes. But the people itself are very, very nice people. And they all are unhappy with the government. They all want to tell me, want to more live in Germany, or more like the Americans. Yes.
Yeah. So it's very eye-opening to see in other cultures, and even like if you think about the history of humankind, we lived thousands of years, but we only been like how long there's been airplanes, like commercial flights. It's a very, very new thing that we are actually able to fly on the other side of the world in like 15 hours or so, which is just I think it opens up people's eyes, because the way I have friends, some of them have never left their hometown. and when I see the people who have seen different cultures, they are always more like open, and they understand better people from different places and different backgrounds and cultures, which is, I believe, would be the key to make this world like more understandable and loving and respecting to each other, instead of like all the crazy things that are happening in the world.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and you see, so here is my wife and me, and she's from Thailand.
Yeah.
And so this is also a other culture, and I like it very much.
Yeah, that's very good. That's very good. And you have like, she has children, like, and they're like your children too, of course, because
she has children. Yes.
Yes. How old are the children?
Yes, the big doctor is 33 years old, and she has we have a granddaughter. She is 12 years old. The middle daughter is 29, and the son is 24. But they live all in Thailand, and we will soon come to them.
Yeah, they're in Thailand. Yeah. Yes, that's good. Well, but you have been able to visit them.
Oh yes, many times.
That's very good. That's very good. What do you like most about the culture in Thailand?
Yeah, most tumblers are so easy. They have so much fun, and they are not so. Let's say, I think in our Western countries we have so much norms, and the norms how to live, and they are more open. This is not so the norms that we have, and the fun, the eat. It's
Yeah.
more easy there, much more easy.
Yeah, it seems to me too, because I have traveled Asia and my wife is actually from Cambodia. They came to Finland in the 90s from the civil war that it was going on still there basically, and that's another story. But anyways, the things that I've traveled in Asia, you can see them that people are very like optimistic towards life and like a positive mindset about the future, even though they're not always from the they don't really have an amazing life many times. But it all comes down for me to think about also that, you know, the story of this frustrating man who was like, he had a big mansion and he was like pissed off because he doesn't have the biggest mansion in town. He's bitter of this guy who has even bigger mansion and he was supposed to get the biggest mansion. And then there is these two people who don't even have a home, but they suddenly meet each other and become friends, and they're like virtually happier than this person living in the big mansion. So so in a way I feel like the happiness is not attained by like material. It can help you, you know, if you do like have money and you use it correct way and you support your family and you help others and you do great things and you're wise with it, it can definitely help you in many ways. But then if your focus is on, you know, I need to be better than that person and comparing yourself, you know, it's really I feel that's the way to be really bitter and sad.
Yes.
And what's really amazing, like you mentioned about the Asian people, I see like some of the people who have absolutely nothing in terms of material possessions, but they seem like they have something inside them that many people, unfortunately, in our culture is missing, like the internal happiness and inner peace and positivity towards life despite whatever is happening. So I'm sure you have also got a lot to teach about this topic. So how would you advise somebody who is living in Germany? Let's say they're in Germany and they feel like they're frustrated all the time, and apparently like everybody says you should be happy, you have this job and you have this family, you have all these things, but they feel frustrated and stressed out and all this. So what would your advice be for them?
I would say the words from Bruce Lee. He was a karate fighter and was a philosopher, and he said, "Empty your mind, became like the water, and to adapt to the new things."
Yeah.
But this is difficult. When out of frustration is difficult. No? And and to adapt this Asia life, not everybody can do this. Now you must be really open to do this, and maybe open by heart too, and let this happen. But from the brain side is every time when you learning new things, and especially if the older you get, to make your brain a little bit empty
Yeah.
for learning new things.
Yeah.
And this was for me so when I learned my wife from Thailand. I know much crazy things about Thailand from television, from blah blah blah. And then I say, no, empty your mind. Look to this person, what's happened with her. And so I go, and it was good. Or when my boss said to me, okay, I mean, there are people from Iran coming, you're doing a job with them. They say, okay. And then say, good, empty your mind, be fresh, start fresh with these people. No? This is what I mean with empty your mind.
Exactly. Yes, like that's actually very well put it, because many times we have these pre-assumptions of people. Oh, I'm going to Iran. They're all crazy and they want to bomb us and kill us, or like whatever you have, like assumptions of people. Or I don't say that everybody thinks that way, but some people might have, either they realize they have these pre-assumptions, or without even realizing it or admitting it, they might have these pre-assumptions of people or a culture or people living in a certain nation. But then when you get to actually meet the people, you see the truth in a much better light, per se. And that's also what I meant by that, with that people who actually travel see the reality, and like the traveling that we have these days, I think it's changing our world, like, slowly. But also, like, the way that you have seen, like, I don't know, like I speak with you have seen people from a lot of European cultures, but then from very different cultures like Asia and Iran. And maybe the pre-assumptions that you originally had, like you mentioned, like, oh, I'm going to Iran, what is that place like? And then he said to you, like, empty your mind and start from blank. Because if we go from this pre-assumption, they are this, they are that, and they are bad, then you're gonna you already have this pre-assumption of people. Even no matter what they do, you're gonna feel differently about them, instead of starting from blank and like you mentioned, empty your mind. Yes, well, that's a very good thing also, to learn about new people and the way to perceive it. And you have traveled about from being frustrated and all these things happening to you, and I believe, like, many people would say also that, yeah, you have all the right to be frustrated or whatever, and all these things happened, but despite everything, you chose a joyful life. So where does the joyfulness for you come from? Empty your mind, that's the one thing. And what else things, what tips could you have for people on really attaining the joyful life?
So when I see the little children, they have so much energy and laughing, and then all the day sometimes are crying, but the most time they are happy. They are happy and running around and doing things, because I'm grandfather and I was a teacher for swimming too. I'm a member of the German Lifesavers, and I taught in swimming. And everywhere where I live is a kindergarten, not so far, and I see them jumping around and happy. I think we are born happy.
Yeah.
We are born happy, but the life, we learn so much things and maybe some bad experiences, and so this happiness inside will be more and more buried. But it can be, you can go back to them. So children are very good teachers for this.
Yes.
And maybe the things that make you happy,
Yeah.
and
So
be open for the happiness. No?
Yeah. So it should be more like children.
Yes. And maybe if you're in a sad situation, like when father is going to die, or this, and then you go to the forest or something like this, and you also can hear music. You need something that is lifting you up emotionally, and because it is this happiness and laughter is medicine, because the doctor said about the hormones. Which hormones do you set free when you're happy, when you are laughing? And this is really the best medicine you can get, and this is inside you. It is about habits and about mindset, and then comes the hormones. They're making so much. And I see an old man here. he's 91 years old. He will become 92, and he's a happy man. He's so the most time he's happy, and he's 92. He's so healthy, yeah? And he makes joking with the waitresses in the bakery store, and everybody loves him because it's such a charming, happy old man.
Ah, that's wonderful. So
Yeah.
what makes him so charming and happy? Do you know the answer for that?
Yeah, it's his temper. He is so. I don't not figure out why it is, because he also lived in the World War and have seen. But when he talk about his life, he talks always happy. I think he has the most time a happy life. Yeah. But I did not ask him especially for this.
Yeah, of course. Maybe it would be a good question to ask that, hey, I see you're so happy all the time. So how have you attained this?
Yes, I will do this.
Yeah.
We'll see him the next time.
Yeah. It's very admirable because, it seems like it's more easy to attain success in life than happiness. Sometimes it seems like
Yes.
that. Oh, okay, of course, it also depends how we define success and things like this. But you see, as a person who is successful and happy, it's something to really try for, in my opinion.
Yes, of course. Yes, really.
Yeah. Well, that's really wonderful, and I'm very happy that you got here into this episode to share your wisdom, Armin. And I believe that you have many more advice to give to people inside your book, and also what you're doing in coaching, so people can see and feel your heart really, and the way to go from frustration to joyful life. So you have got a lot to give for many people. That's very good. Let's say that if something happened and this video went viral and there was 50 million people all of a sudden seeing this video, what would be the one thing that you would give them as an advice?
Yes, also we have much, but one thing I think it's important nowadays. I see so many people are judging themselves and judging others, and so the self-judging is so hard, so much. I think go away from this judging. This will be makes the life for yourself and for all of this planet very much better.
Yeah, that's very good. So people are very judgmental and feeling this guilt or shame. Yes, exactly. Yeah, that's a very good advice. So stop judging yourself. Yes, that's very good. That's a very good advice. And what about if people would like to get to know more about you? Where can we actually find your book from?
Amazon, and when you type my name in Google search, you will find the book. But I think the easiest way to find me is I'm in Facebook and give Facebook message.
Yeah, and do you have a website as well?
Yes, I have also a website. Yeah.
Yes, good. So people can also contact you from there?
Yes. But the English website is not so perfect in the moment. I have one English page in my German website, and there is not so. Yeah, I must think about it. But also, I can leave a contact formular in the German website, and then you can contact me there if you have no Facebook.
Yes, and I will actually leave the links on this episode description as well, so it's easier for people to find you.
Yes, of course.
Yes, very good. And I like to thank you very much, Armin. And once again, talking with you makes me feel like you really have a warm heart and you're willing to share your message, and you wrote your book and all these things. So that's why I really appreciate your showing up and coming to this episode. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you to Omo to let me the first one in this episode.
Yeah, thank you. It's my pleasure. And
wow.
Yes, great. See you next time.
Yeah, see you. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.